all my overlays. Welcome to pre-show, everybody. We're getting ready, getting our overlays set up. Here's episode 3's overlay, audio feedback overlay, end card for the end of the show. Hopefully it'll come up quicker than that. STWD, that's my Survivor Talk and pre-show.
I'm a survivor.
I sound just like the recording. It's amazing.
I'm a survivor.
You know what? I'm sitting back. That's what the problem is. Let me scoot up.
So if you hear it, keep your hands up.
Not too far. Tired. Just tired.
Is Vader Girl in the chat room yet? No, she's not. All right. All right. All right. I got all those.
Oh, I guess I got a number of the things.
Yes, you do indeed. And you also got to get QuickTime up. Boy, I'm so much closer than you. I got to do something about that. You're like, you're like pre-show. Oh, that's the old pre-show banner.
It is?
Just delete that puppy.
No wonder it's so high.
Yeah. Delete that little guy.
I'm just going to go.
I'm a survivor. I want to see if
They're not loaded.
This is probably going to be a mistake. Go back to my camera shot right here and see if I like it. Well, it can't cut off some of the stuff up top a little bit. There we go, right there. No, I want the purple one up. I want the purple flag up. I want the purple flag up. I don't want no orange flag because I want the purple flag. I said, I want the purple flag. I don't want the orange flag, no. That's what I said. There you go. I represent Millennials tonight. Representing.
Steve can Steve go back in the drawing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd run out of people. Yeah, man. He can win all he wants. It's a random drawing, so. Welcome to the chat room. Red Hot Noodles and Chris Diorio. What a great name, Diorio. Like every time you say your name, you want ice cream and milk with yourself.
I want Doritos.
No, Diorio. Oreo. You want ice
Spanish
cream and
for
milk
Doritos.
with yourself.
It's Spanish for Doritos.
No, it's not.
Give me some Doritos. Doritos.
Now you're being an ethnicist. Yeah, Chris Diorio says cookies. Cookies. My son's home from college, Joshua.
Mine left yesterday back to college.
And he said, I said, Joshua, you want to go work out with me in the morning? He goes, oh, yeah. So he's going to go work out with me in the morning. He's going to like push me and I'm going to die. And then I'll wait till he goes somewhere and have a payday.
I thought your workout was just in the hot tub.
No, that's after the workout.
You working out? Yeah. Sends me a picture of you in the hot tub. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Chris says, I was called Oreo and Cookie all throughout high school and college. I have some comebacks for that I would have used in high school, but family friendly. So we're not going to.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Da, 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 da. Man, our numbers are just jumping this season. Did you see that? A 30% increase over last season.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty incredible.
It's awesome.
Are you ready? Do you have everything ready on your end?
Got the list, got the chat, got the don't have the notes.
QuickTime, you need the notes.
Oh, I don't have QuickTime. I have Moo. You want to go ahead and start recording?
Yeah, we can start recording.
All right, hold on. Let me change it to F3. I'll have to change that later. I'm ready just to start recording.
I am recording now.
Oh my.
3, 2, 1, record.
Record.
It's 8 o'clock. You ready to start?
Remember when you used to say, "Did you say it? I didn't hear you say it. Did you say it? I didn't hear you say it."
Yeah.
Oh, David, you're like 5 seconds behind. No, I'm not.
No, yes, you were. That was when there were 2 episodes when you had Bluetooth headphones.
I know, but we got rid of that.
Happened. It never happened after that. That was when that happened.
Let's see. I wonder if it would work with these.
I remember it was very stressful for me
because I'm not using a Mac anymore. So I'm wondering if it would change but they don't work anymore.
No, we don't. No, we're happy with what you're doing.
Say amen.
We put a new hard drive, an SSD drive in that cheap old HP of yours, and now it works like a dream. Because you don't open FedEx packages, zip things in your emails.
Oh yeah, we got a couple FedEx packages coming to us from somewhere.
Apparently Feedback at Survivor Talk has ordered something from FedEx, and we need to open up this zip document to get more info.
You need to get control of that Feedback account. That email account's going a little crazy.
Yeah, it's using all our patron money and buying stuff. And our Amazon money and buying stuff. All right, here we go, David. Oh, wait a second. I accidentally deleted Aubrey's intros, so let me go get them. We're still on.
That's good because I pulled up my old note podcast notes, and it was from Co-Wrong. You keep giving a different link each time, so I got to go find that. I wouldn't give you.
That's right, because I redo the document. You just click on the link, and it'll take you there. Don't complain to me.
I always want to complain to you.
Well, stop it.
You're riled up.
All right. Aubrey's intro.
We're going to hit 300 next season.
300 what?
Episodes. We're at 278.
Oh, I know. We might hit it this season.
We're not doing that many Sunday shows.
Oh, okay. All right. See, this is why we do a pre-show. You're going, why are you doing the pre-show? You're not even on the show. Because this way you're not sitting there going, well, it's 2 minutes after 8 and they haven't started yet. When are they going to start? See, now you know what's going on before we actually start. All right. Here we go. Oh, wrong one.
Killing me.
Hey there, it's Aubrey Bracco from Survivor Co-Wrong. Grab some giant clams, pick some mangoes, sit back and relax with Dwaine and Dave on Survivor Talk with D&D. With Survivor knowledge this tasty, we're sure you'll make it through the whole show, just as long as Mark the Chicken.
This is Survivor Talk with D&D. Welcome. Just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. I'm Dwaine, and I am here with David Jones. Hello, David.
Hello, Dwaine. I could have sworn that was you throwing in a yeah at the end of that sound bite.
Yeah. That was not me, David. How has your day been? Did you enjoy your day?
It was okay. It's a lot of where I work. There was a lot of planning for a hurricane that's probably not going to come up here.
Well, yeah, because y'all don't get as many hurricanes.
I have never seen a hurricane take a right and make a U-turn. So this is going to be something if this actually happens.
Well,
I've never seen this.
Florida's about to get it.
So on that note, our thoughts and prayers with the folks in Florida and Haiti and the Caribbean and all those places down there. That is just amazingly devastating.
In fact, we sponsor 2 children in Haiti, so they can go to school and have food and everything. And we haven't heard how they're doing yet. So tonight we are talking about the Survivor Millennials versus Gen X, episode 3. Your job is Recon. And we're going to read, listen to, and discuss your thoughts on the show as well. You know, David, I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
I'm pretty happy with our podcasting together. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. I just as long as it's us two solid and you don't like do a Steve Andy thing, then I'm okay.
Well, if they call and they say something crazy like, David, we want to do a 3-guy podcast with you, just the 3 of us without Dwaine. Trust me, I'm your best friend. I will call you personally and let you know that I hope the voice thing works out because you're not needed at the podcast anymore. But look, you are just one of the nicest, humblest, sweetest guys I've ever met.
Okay.
The only problem is when you break your ankle on the roof of a church, you scream like a girl. But otherwise, you're the nicest guy I've ever come across.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss Paul, by the way.
Wow. Yeah, we were going to talk about that, among other things, tonight. Speaking of our listeners, by the way, because I was talking about them a minute ago, we couldn't still be doing this without you. So thank you for listening, watching, subscribing, sharing, supporting us. We have made some amazing friendships doing this show. Haven't we, though? My goodness.
I can't wait for you to read our iTunes review because that's what it hits on.
I know. I mean, like I'm thinking people we got to see when I went to New York and you got to see Wendy and just I can't wait to see some of the other people. And
then we go to Maine and it's like a plethora.
Oh, I know. It's great. So we love y'all and so thankful to have y'all around and looking forward to meeting each and every one of you if that's a possibility. So
are we going to be podcasting
cool,
that
though.
long? Or are we going to be podcasting long enough to meet everybody?
No, but it's pretty cool because we know people from like all over the United States and overseas.
Yeah,
like if I was ever stranded in Missouri, I could get on Facebook and go, okay, I'm stranded in Missouri, and there's one of our listeners is bound to be close by.
There you go.
It's like the world's largest care group.
Even in Iceland. I think we'd be okay in Iceland.
If I ever get stranded in Iceland.
That's right.
If you're new to us or just found us, well, as we said, we're best friends. I live in Alabama, and David lives in Virginia. We're dads, we're husbands, and we're old. Well, we're in our 40s, but
still hanging on by a thread.
We're almost there. We love to have fun and laugh.
With every birthday, my chance of ever getting on just goes further and further and further away.
Yeah, David wants to be on Survivor. I don't. But David does.
But yeah, I think this would keep me from getting on Survivor.
Yeah, probably so. Well, I don't know. Fishback got on, and he's on a show that's pretty popular.
He got on before he got on the show, and now he's just sharing his knowledge, all that stuff. So
that's true. Anyway, our show is always family friendly, safe for work, and we love our community. Our website is stwdd.com, and our always fun Facebook group is stwdd.com/Facebook. We have a page and a group. Go to the group. We also have 2 other shows, Movie Talk with D&D and Stranger Things with D&D. So if you're watching live, as several are, we have a chat room, stwdd.com/live. Join the conversation. And if you're watching right now, log into YouTube and click that like button. David, we have 3 people to shout out to before we start getting into the episode.
Mm-hmm.
3 people. Our newest patrons are Lori Stegall, raised her support. Thank you, Lori. Debbie Sapp came back after being away for a while. And Will the Giant Ninja raised his support. So thank you to you 3 for supporting us over at Patreon, becoming a D&D patron. Links all over our website, and we appreciate it. And at the end of the show, we'll tell you about how you can get your name in the drawing for a free shirt or mug signed by David and myself. But now it's time for... And just like CBS, we cut the intro short.
There you go. Because you get more of us.
Yeah. You get more camp life. Me and David at camp.
FaceTime. That's right.
That's right. What an episode. Some people on Twitter are saying it was the worst episode in the history of Survivor. And I say to them, poo on you. Why be such a naysayer? Just enjoy Survivor. Or did you think that as well?
If I tweeted more, I would definitely have called it the least interesting episode of the season so far.
Well, this season, but I'm seeing stuff on Twitter like the worst episode of Survivor ever.
No, I saw a lot of potential, one in particular, but then I saw a bad overconfidence, a horrible move, and bad social behavior.
Oh, and all of that made it fun. I enjoyed it because of that.
But see, that's just it. And I was just talking to a buddy who lives around the corner. He was texting me. He always says, good episode, right? And I go into a little detail about it. He goes, see, I don't watch it the way you do. I just laugh and stuff. But I'm like, I watch it to win. I want to pick out a strategy. I want to follow someone and win. I want to see people play good, play tough, and play smart. Like I would hope that I would play. I would never know without going out there. But there was just some stuff I didn't think was smart.
Well,
and it doesn't make for a bad episode. You're right. It doesn't make for an unentertaining episode. Bad Survivor is still good Survivor, but there was just some parts of it I was like, man, come on, really? And anyway, we'll get to it.
Well, I cheered during the episode.
I know because I accidentally picked up my phone when I got to Tribal Council and saw you were cheering, so I knew who was going home.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's not your fault. I should have picked it up.
Yeah. And I got sick and tired of hearing somebody, and I just can't wait for them to go home now because I'm tired of hearing them talk.
Yeah.
And it's obviously Lucy is who I'm talking about. Anyway, okay, so maybe it wasn't the most exciting episode in the world, but it had some good stuff in it. It had some fish. It had bad fishing from people who said they were great fishermen to great fishing from humble guys that don't know how to socially get involved with people, apparently. Mm-hmm. And then it had Blindside that was amazing. That was because of the most stupid thing ever said on a show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that brings me to two of my initial thoughts. I'm going to say them first. Paul shows everyone how to say something stupid to ruin your game.
Mm-hmm. Jessica
and Sunday show everyone how to react when someone says something stupid to ruin their game.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because their faces didn't change a bit. I mean, okay, he wasn't looking at him. So I was watching him, and I saw a little bit of, really, you just
recognition. Yeah.
You are an idiot, and we're going to go talk.
You know, it's funny because when I watched back the second time, I thought, man, she got him like a lawyer. Oh, that's right. She is a lawyer.
She is a lawyer.
Well, I'm going to give her credit that she did it on purpose, but she set him up good, and he fell right into it.
Oh, man. Well, she wasn't even trying to set him up.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think she was, but she did it like a lawyer. She propped him up and saying, you can give me the right answer, or you can give me an answer that's going to burn you.
Well, you know what? She did test him a little bit, but I think she was confident. She was confident in her 6. And then she just get a little bit of confirmation, and he blows it. We'll talk about that a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were some things I liked about the episode. Absolutely. And that was one of them because it was a very calm, reassuring conversation. Pat and Paul on the back. You're the big Santa Claus. You're the honcho. You're ZZ Top. You're fine. You know what? But if you guys, as long as you guys don't go off and do an all guy thing, you know, something that would come up in that conversation almost as a joke. And he just did not read it, didn't react. He was so confident in what he was talking about that he just knew those little girls, they'll just deal with it. You know, if it comes up, I'll just let them know. They'll be 4, 5, and 6, and the 3 of us will be the final 3. Yeah. They'll be fine with it. Oh.
It's almost like he thought they're going to appreciate my honesty.
There you go. Yes. I did a good thing today.
Because women, I know how to talk to women.
I also know how to fish.
And they're yes.
Now, he does know how to fish. He does know how to fish. He does know how to fish. He just got caught up in the
And I know how to talk to women.
2 things I know how to do: talk to women and fish. That's right.
My third initial thought and last one: when you're at the summit on Survivor, look for the idol or clues.
Yeah. Well, how many idols have ever been sitting out there on a beach in a coconut with a face painted on it, like Wilson?
I don't know.
You know.
Well, now that wasn't at the summit, but still.
Gotcha. See, that was disappointing. We'll talk about that later. But that was that was disappointing.
What are some of your initial thoughts, David?
I didn't have a whole lot because I wasn't really thrilled with the episode. I thought the end was kind of predictable, but I did write down, never give up, never surrender. You never know when somebody's going to put their foot in their mouth and give you an option. I was so glad that Cece and Ken and David were optimistic for the whole episode.
Right.
That was good. Those three were going to fight. They were going to do something.
So tonight it's two best friends talking about the show. One of them loved, and one of them was
talking about an episode of a show.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Now, another one was,
thought you didn't have any.
I guess I had a couple. Usually I have 5 or 6. Another one was, I guess CBS and Probst felt that millennials and Gen Xers never talk or never meet, because it seemed like the summit was set up to, let's see how this works. Let's set up a horse and a cow and see what happens. I'm like, no, these guys live on the same farm. They work together. They talk to each other. I don't know what they expected to get out of that, but that was a bust in my opinion. But my main point was this episode and the last episode was a tale of the same vote with opposite outcomes. Michelle kept Figgy because she knew Figgy and could deal with her later when she needed to. Jessica, and I say Jessica because she got most of the narration for this, decided to let Paul go, even though she knew where Paul stood. Right. So to me, it's very similar situations, but totally different outcomes. Let's see who comes out further in the game.
Right.
I just think it was a bad move.
Yeah.
I think Michelle's was right. I think Jessica and Sunday made a bad move.
What?
Yes,
no, I
do.
I don't. And stop, please get rid of that animal that's in your room making clicking noises. I don't know what that animal is.
It's this thing right here. I'll get rid of it right now.
I wasn't going to call you out. I was going to call out the animal in your room.
No, it's okay. It was me. I'm like David. I got a little nervous thing going on.
All right. Night 7, Millennials. David, can you just leave me alone, please? I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but we're in the middle of a podcast. We got to talk about it. I don't want you to go to sleep. I just
need some space.
But I don't want you to start talking without me and think about me in a bit.
I just need space. I need time to meditate.
Okay, fine. I understand. Just I want you to think about this before you start meditating.
I was sitting there in my recliner thinking to myself, I hate it when I'm in his position. And that happens to me.
Yes, I know. Because you text me sometimes right after that position. I know. They won't stop talking to me, and I just want to be left alone. but at the same time, I totally sympathize. I sympathize with Hannah and the point she was trying to make. However, she should have gone when he just. You could tell he wanted nothing to do with it. What my sympathy was, this is a quick game. You can't take chances on something getting left to be talked about later. And basically, I think she wanted him to think on what her decision was before he went to sleep. Because if he goes to sleep and he's talking to Jay the next morning, she's in trouble. So she needed to plant the information in him so that he would think about it while she left. But at the same time, he wouldn't let her go.
Well, she was nervous.
He had to. Yeah, she was. And she had just done a big thing. And I still think her move was good, but at the same time, I can understand it's hard to walk away from who you were close to that you just hurt.
Right. She didn't like what she did.
No, she didn't. She said that in that confessional. You're right. So I sympathize with that, but at the same time, it's hard. It's hard both ways. I understood Zeke, but at the same time, I think Zeke needs to be more open to talk. You got to figure this out. You got to he's only alienated himself unless he's closer to other people. He and Adam just alienated himself.
But he was willing to talk. He just needed some time alone. He needed some time because, for me, when I say to somebody, look, I really just need some time, that means I'm wanting to talk to you. But right now is not going to be a productive talk. Right now, I'm either upset, I'm angry, or I'm sad or something, and I'm not going to be able to have a productive conversation with you. So let's do it in a little bit. I think that's all he wanted. He wanted time to get a hold of himself so he could have a good conversation with her. That's what he told her.
And he was upset. He was obviously upset. So you get up one morning and you hear a podcast on your radio that's me and someone else talking about the game.
Then I'm upset. Yes.
And you're upset because you wanted to do that. I didn't want to do that. So when I get off the podcast and you call and I call you to say, hey, I just want you to know, and you say, hey, I already heard it. and I don't really want to talk about it. But Dwaine, they tried to call you. They were live on the air, and they could not reach you by phone. Your phone must have been dead, so they called me as a backup, and I did it because I knew you wanted us to get the recognition, the popularity, or the know-abouts from it. I did it because I knew you wanted to do it. But you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to listen to me because you're mad that I did something that you were going to do and that you didn't think I even wanted to do. But you're not listening to me. You're not giving me a chance to tell you. They tried to call you.
This did not really happen.
I know. But I'm saying this is what I was feeling for Hannah in the point she was trying to make.
Okay, all right.
But it was hard to watch because Zeke wanted to. He wasn't even going to listen to her when she talked.
He wanted some space.
I know. I'm not defending Hannah. I'm not playing the victim here. I'm not playing the victim. But it was tough.
And if I'm Michelle, kudos to Michelle because all the credit's going to Taylor and Figgy, and she's like, "That's fine."
Yep.
Not that we heard her this episode, but
Now later, it's recognized when Adam talks about it. He mentions Michelle that she saved him, so that does come back later.
Anyway, Hannah doesn't like her alliance. She wants Adam and Zeke to use her, please.
Yes, exactly. But
and I felt for Adam. My dream's to play this game, and the first time I go to tribal council, I'm blindsided. That's not what I wanted when I'm playing this game. Now I'm at the bottom again.
It's almost worse than Mari's position. She's out there eating a cheeseburger, thinking, "Man, I should have done something different." These guys are stuck in the game with the boat's floating away with all them, and Zeke and I are still sitting in the water. Yeah. So that's got to be a hard feeling. But be like David, never give up.
That's right, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. All right. You want to go over to the Gen X tribe?
Sure.
I wrote down the main thing here is that Paul says he can do a lot of stuff and he can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken says he can do it and he does do it. Now, later on, we see him do it.
Yeah.
But
I wrote that Cece is talking to David and Ken, and sitting down is Lucy. She's listening to this. And I think we heard in a separate scene that she on YouTube that they had talked to Lucy. And Lucy was talking. So Lucy seems to be talking to both groups. Good on her. Well, she's probably listening to both groups.
I don't agree with no. She's not talking.
No. Right.
I've not heard her talk except to go, shh.
Well, yeah, she spoke this one. But anyway, she says she has faith that something's going to turn around. That's a lot of faith in Survivor because she admits later that nobody's talking to her. Nobody's including her. That's got to be a horrible feeling.
Right.
But Paul, like we said, I mentioned last week after that secret scene where we didn't see on the show, but Paul talked about feeling like a new man. And he comes up and says it, he comes back and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play big, go fishing. And just comes back. I love what Brett said. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You go out there. You just
don't get hit by shock.
But he's so confident he's taking a string. He's going to put all his fish on a string, and hopefully another big fish doesn't come take him away.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't have anything else about that. We can go back over to the Millennials on day 8 if you want.
Go for it.
There was an idol on that there beach.
So do you think Adam's going to find it? I don't think he's going to find it now.
No.
I think that was our cue to say that he's not the one that's going to find it.
It's going to come up later, but
absolutely.
Yeah. But he does bring back tree mail.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go to a summit where there will obviously be an idol clue.
So there's 4 from each tribe going.
Yes.
Who would you like to see go?
I don't care.
I do. I don't want to see the Triforce go.
Okay. Well, that's who went.
I know that's an alliance going to talk to do nothing. I mean,
yeah, that they did kind of help. They did kind of make the summit all the more.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the summit was quite meh, to use a millennial term.
I got 2 things out of. Can we get to the summit now, or I got 2 things out of the summit.
Go Summit Beach. Here we are.
2 things out of the summit. One, I like David reaching out, but I don't like him basically making a bear hug on Taylor with everything he gave him and told him. I thought that was a little bit too much information, but I would have rather him have done it more sneaky and say, "Hey, look, when we swap or when we merge, if you guys are looking for somebody, I want to work with you guys. These guys don't trust me. They don't want me. I would love to work with you guys." I would not have offered to vote out everybody from my tribe because he's offering something that he might have to keep his promise on that he might not have to. Because if they're
Also, they go to him, or they go to his tribe and go, guess what he told me?
Exactly. He's just trying to reach out and make. I do appreciate that, but I thought he went a little too far. But the second thing I got out of it on my second watch was they're talking about Ken at the other tribe.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
how
the
is
girls? Well, the girls are.
still they're talking about Ken so
Yeah.
much that they've named him. But how does Ken not fit in with the alpha males on the Gen X tribe?
I think it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I think we're going to agree. It has to be his age.
That's not what I was thinking.
What were you going to say?
I think it's his personality. Those guys are all talkers, big beer drinking, kind of hang around the bar type of guys. And he's more of a outside, chill, soft spoken kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, that's probably even better. Well, that's absolutely better than the age, just the age, because he is completely different than them. But he's a challenge beast. He's done good in all their challenges. But to me, with the Millennials talking about him like that and them getting confirmation that Paul was in charge and it was the guys, that Ken is a target for the Millennials to pull over.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking it was going to happen. I did preseason, then I didn't, but now I do. It sounds, if you're talking about somebody like that, we don't have a name for Chris. We don't have a name for Brett, but we do have a name for Ken, the model looking guy who's kind of young and good looking. We have a name for him, which that could come into play later. I like hearing that. That was what I got out of Summit. Otherwise, I thought the Summit was a waste. I I would rather have seen an idol pop up like a clue. That would have been neat on the tray of food. We got nothing. Nothing from that.
Okay, so the Millennials deny any love going on. Big deal. Right. Okay, I did right. Paul thinks that they miss their parents, and so they want to talk to him. No.
That's more fan fiction than I've ever written, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, did you really just say no?
He is really confident in his gameplay.
Yeah. And then David, talk about a guy who trusts you. I just met you. I trust you, and I will vote off everybody on my tribe for you. Really? Wow.
Hey, David, I'm the cameraman. I'm not in the game. You don't have to tell me this.
Hey, Bruce in the chat room says they did find out that Fig and Tails were an item. So yeah, I guess they did find that out. They didn't openly admit it. But they're not stupid. They could probably tell. But the fact that how did they find out? Was it talked about? Well, no, you could probably just tell by the way they acted. But it wasn't really pointed out. No, I don't. I mean, I think, Bruce, you are assuming they found that out. Yeah, I don't unless they said that. If they did, please tell us. It might have been obvious, but I didn't really notice it or heard it. They saw them holding hands on the way over. Oh, yeah. All right, day 8, back to the Gen X beach. So I would have rather had a reward challenge. Oh, yeah, me too. With an idol in play in the challenge. Yeah. We get more of David, which I am so tiring of quickly. Oh, really? Chris Diorio says, Paul said in his post interview that they knew almost immediately that Fig and Tails were an item. Okay. So there you go. Thank you, Chris Diorio, and thank you, Bruce. That's why we love our chat. Now, was that post interview the day after, or was that today? I don't know. Well, it makes a difference. You can see the chat room just as well as I can. Well, I know. That's what I'm asking. Was it today or was it? Oh, okay. Day after. So I am so tired of hearing David tell us every single thing that's going on in this game. Usually I don't tire of the narrator for the show, but I am so tiring of him. I really am. Because he's so off the wall, off the every which way. Chris says it was today in interviews today. See, that's interesting because I see everything today. And I'm not saying Paul's lying. I'm just saying it's today. Oh, that's true. There is one other thing I wanted to point out because I like that Kim was talked about at the summit. And sorry to go back so far, but I noticed that Figgy is a hugger. And huggers make an impression when you greet them. So nobody else is hugging. I'm just saying, when people are that friendly, you remember that and you say, hey, that's the girl, that hugged, yada, yada. So they might remember it. It might work with them later. You never know. Never know. Yes. Just saying. I know. It's first impressions. I'm just. Chris tried to hug Jay and Taylor in the first challenge to keep him from getting them ores, but otherwise that didn't work. So. Okay. Cece reveals to Ken that they call him Ken Doll, and he does not like that at all.
For good reason. For good reason.
Wow. I don't know. I wish I looked like Ken, the Ken Doll. Only with a few modifications.
He is nothing like us in the fact that he's extremely humble.
Oh, he's so humble.
He is so likable. He's such a nice guy, it seems like.
Yeah.
So.
Ken decides to go fishing, and guess what, David? He actually catches fish.
I counted 7 on that spit.
Dude.
He had like 7 sticks with 7 fish. That's a buffet in
They would
Survivor.
be stupid to get rid of him. Although they might be smart to get rid of him, because if he's considered on the bottom and they merge or swap stuff up, he could, boom, be right over there quick.
Somebody as strong as him? Absolutely.
Yep. So he talks to Jessica. This is where we get a really good sense that Jessica is very secure and strong in her 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's on the outs. She knows he's on the outs. She realizes that he has a lot to bring the tribe, but she's committed to her 6: Paul, Brett, Chris, Sunday, and Lucy, and herself.
I like what he said. He called her and Sunday, because they talk. He doesn't know about Lucy, but he called her and Sunday the most humble people out here.
Yeah.
What a compliment, as in to say, you guys are like the nicest people in that group. That's
Yeah.
why I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to those guys. They won't talk to me. They're alphas.
Those guys
like
aren't
you said.
humble. Yeah.
Right.
They're alpha.
You two are so humble. You know, that's how you do it, Paul. You compliment. You don't dictate. You compliment. That's why the more and more it's like Ken's giving them a chance, because if they don't play with him now, they're not going to play with him later, because he's going to play with the other group.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
like
that was a good conversation.
Paul, Brett, and Chris are the guys at the bar that are being really loud.
Mm-hmm.
Ken's the guy over just kind of chilling out that gets all the girls.
Well, yeah, because the guys are talking about guy stuff while Sunday and Jessica and Lucy are sitting there, and then when they get bored listening to them talk about guy stuff, they go talk to Ken.
Yeah,
and Ken's like, "Hey, girls, y'all are so nice. You know, are y'all being rubbed the wrong way by them?" And he even said, "Paul's the one that's rubbing everybody the wrong way. He's the one not getting along with people. So why would you want to get rid of me? I'll bring you fish."
Oh, David, you're just full of them tonight.
That I wrote that down, and that's what he said. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what he said.
I know. I'm just gonna have to type something to you here in a second.
But Jessica feels like her 6 alliance, however, at this point, is her best chance going forward.
Right.
I agree. So keep that in mind when that comes around after the challenge. So,
all right, let's talk about day 9. Okay, let's talk about day 10.
Why'd you say that?
What?
Nothing.
That's what you said on the show live that I am not repeating.
Okay.
Day 10, Millennial Beach.
You had him at a bar. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's the party beach, hanging out on the beach, being all confident. They aren't worried a bit. Not a bit.
Doing backflips.
Yeah. I mean, they even got the helicopter out there at $10,000 a pop.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was probably the day that Paul got sick. So the helicopter was flying.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul's okay, but go by the other beach and see what they're doing.
Yeah. Actually, somebody told the helicopter pilot that Figgy and Michelle were out sunbathing, and he goes, "Free trip." Anyway, Adam says Figgy sucks at Survivor, and he says some stuff, but I really like this about Adam. He talks to Michaela and explains why the 4 sticking together could take us all out and why they're all going to stick together. Mm-hmm. That's going to stick with Michaela. She's not going to forget that.
And I like that Michaela's smart enough not to be insulted that somebody wanted to explain something to her.
Exactly.
She took it a very calming way, and she realizes I'm in a good position.
Yeah. I think Michaela's long for this game. She might be in the final 3 because she even gets the last confessional on this. You know?
Yeah, and she's not being shown in that little snippy way like she was a couple weeks ago. She's very calm. She was in the right vote last week, and she's got options. She can go with this ragtag group that's not sure what is going to happen, or she can go with that group over there that hasn't budged.
Right.
And that now kind of includes Will. Will was like the little brother hanging out with his sister and her boyfriend, or his brother and his girlfriend. Seemed like wherever they were, there was Will tagging along.
Yeah.
So that's almost like a group of 5. So that's going to be tough to break that up.
Also, another thing I love about Michaela is she doesn't let her emotions dictate her game.
Right.
Because she doesn't like Figgy at all, but she went
Right.
with her last time.
And that's a good point because she didn't come out looking for love. Figgy kind of did. She said, if I find love in a $1 million check, that's good. But
that's right.
Sorry to interrupt your singing. Go ahead if you want to sing.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. Survivor Beach. Anyway.
But yeah, Adam makes a very good case about why they're not going to vote out Michelle, why they're going to be so tight, why we need to break them up.
Yep.
Of course, that was last Trump Council, not next Trump Council.
Right. Immunity Reward Challenge. I like, and I know we talked about this on our D&D Extra video last week or leading up to this week. That's a patron perk, if you want to know what that is. I like that they have to put the puzzle back together again.
Mm-hmm.
That was that extra little thing about the challenge that I thought took it over the edge. Because we've seen the other stuff. We've seen them knock down stuff before. But then them having to move everything around to the front, which was also smart because you don't just pick it up and put it back up on the thing where it fell off.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then you got to put the whole thing back together again. I really, really like that. Really like that.
I liked that part. I liked the front part. What I didn't like was the middle part.
What, the
balancing
balance beam? Why didn't you like that?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because to me, that part of the challenge took it from 65 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour.
It
just
depends
because
on who,
it's so dumb.
It depends on who's crossing it.
Depends on who's crossing it. And what I think is, I wonder if the dream team are a bunch of probably fit young people.
Yeah.
And they probably tailored that challenge. They ran through it with their coconuts and everything and got to the other side. So I'm wondering if they should have said, you know what, why don't we get some people that aren't as fit and see how this goes? Because if the dream team had done it like CC and had a slow point, they might have said, you know what, why don't we make this a flat beam? Why don't we crisscross it? Say 2 people at a time. That way they can get in each other's way. They can try to knock them off the course. It'd be more of a physical challenge because we don't get enough physical challenges anymore, not purposeful ones. So I'm thinking, why don't we think about who these people are and make it more of a crisscross maze? We've had this before where they can get in each other's way or they can just run right through. But that way, everybody does it. Nobody carries somebody else's bags because the maze is too hard or because the balance is too hard. It's a flat thing. You just got to find the quickest path to the other side without getting knocked off or running into somebody else.
Or running into someone else on purpose.
Correct.
So you're not pulling the whole "this wasn't fair to the Gen Xers" card, are you?
This wasn't. Oh, no, not at all.
Because
They could have easily pulled CC off and said, "Get off. We're going to do this quicker."
Okay.
That was kind of on her. I hate to say it, but that's on her. That was a pride thing. Seemed like.
Well, I don't know why you hate to say it. Probst said it enough during the actual challenge.
Yeah, but he gets paid to say it.
Well, they're playing for comfort, and Millennials kicked the Gen Xers collective butt. I mean, it was just
because you know what happens. Chris goes out there with no bag. And he stops all the Millennials that he can reach. Meanwhile, the other 4 Gen Xers run across. Then Chris runs and gets his bag and runs across while they try to catch up. I mean,
you mean if they did it the other way?
If they did it the other way, you employ more strategy into it.
Right.
That type of thing.
But they didn't do it that way.
They did not, and I didn't like it.
And so Gen Xers totally got destroyed.
Yep.
Not because of Ken, though. He did a good job of getting that stuff knocked down.
He did.
But anyway, Probst just straight up calling it as it is. Millennials have a great strategy. Gen Xers don't. And we get a little bit of preview of the Lucy I think we will be seeing later. Now that Paul is gone. And now that didn't she say 2 different things during this challenge?
Well, she shushed him when she was getting across. And then later on, she confirms that she thought David would go along with the vote.
Oh, I thought she said something like "be quiet" or something like. I mean, I know.
Yeah. She did say stuff like that when she was trying to get across. Leave me alone. I'm trying to do it.
So my wife said that was Cece's fault, and so we agree that was Cece's fault.
Yeah.
Or is it the entire team for not working together?
There you go.
Why couldn't they have just said ahead of time? Look, if we don't need to take a long time crossing the beam, this isn't on any of our bucket list. Before we die, we cross a beam with 40 pounds of coconuts. So if anybody's having trouble, we just jump off, and whoever's fast at it, we give it to them. They might have won if they had worked as a team and worked that out ahead of time.
Did they know it beforehand?
Well, as it was, because they didn't do that, they didn't feel like they could ask CC to get down because it would have been an insult.
Right.
Whereas the other team was like, get down, I'm faster, and it's okay.
You know why they couldn't ask her? Because they didn't know her. She's not in the alliance.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. All right. Jay wants to switch comfort for fishing gear, which kudos to him for asking.
Yep.
And kudos to Gen X for going, I don't think so.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I love it. Kid uses this opportunity to talk about all the different types of fish he has caught.
That's right.
Well, Jeff, as much as I like catching red snapper and jellyfish and octopus and all this other great stuff, we're going to have to say no. By the way,
great.
did I mention I'm the one catching all the fish, not the fat guy?
Yeah, me and Paul have been fishing a lot, and well, Paul hasn't, but I've been bringing back lots of fish.
Yeah. Paul's been taken by the undercurrent, but I have been
there
catching fish. And yet, for some reason, the women like Paul. I don't understand. I'm the provider.
That's right. Paul's the lead singer in the band.
Yeah. Chris, I'm not sure how Cece doesn't go home tonight. Cue the obvious that Cece's not going home tonight.
Exactly. Thanks, editing. You could have done that. That's part. This is the part. I like the trick. I didn't like the move, and then I didn't like the editing. It just was kind of obvious. Your cheering didn't spoil anything.
Vader girls in the chat room. Hi, Mir, I am. Oh my gosh. Prepare yourself. This girl is so smitten over Ken. We're going to have to, people in the chat room, just calm her down. Calm her down. All right. Gen X camp. After the immunity reward challenge, Gen X, they are about to send somebody home. And Cece's going home, David. There's no doubt in my mind. Cece's going home until Paul opens his mouth and says the most stupid thing ever spoken on Survivor. And I honestly don't think he meant it the way he said it. I just think he misspoke. And I mean, do you think he meant it?
Yeah. I think
okay.
what he said is what he meant. I just don't think he thought about what he said, because what he should have said was, if those idiots want to go on a man-only alliance, they're not going with me.
Yeah,
I trust you two. I trust you more than anybody. I thought it was the three of us. We find out later that Sunday says, well, we found out Paul promised me and he promised Jessica, that they'd go to the end. So he's made multiple promises. But no, that's not the right thing.
Yeah. So let's just skip. Well, we'll get to this in just a second. Before this, Cece and Jessica are talking, and Jessica kind of puts it on the guys, right? I think the boys are working out the details.
My heart. Oh yeah, I know. That was kind of weird too, because my heart went out to Cece because she admitted nobody's talking to me. So what's the plan?
Yeah.
So she's trying to get it out of him. I don't know if she's doing that or not. And then Jessica's like, she doesn't even say we're voting David. She says, well, the guys are going to figure it out, and then they're going to tell us. Is kind of what it sounded like.
So before Paul makes his incredibly stupid comment, I was thinking, y'all play the idol for Cece, and then y'all three vote out Paul.
That crossed my mind, but at the same time, it's awfully early to play that idol.
And it didn't have long to stay in my mind, because this is how the conversation went. Jessica says, as long as you boys aren't doing an all boys thing. Oh no. Then this is a solid 6 right here. And you have my word. If that came up, I would tell y'all. If they decided to do that, I would say, ladies, you're on your own.
And then everything got quiet.
Sunday and Jessica got the Game Face Award for not saying anything or doing anything. They just you just made a mistake. Yep. I would say, ladies, you're on your own. How can that be translated any other way than we guys are going off, and so you ladies are on your own? Bye. There is no other way that could be taken.
Exactly. That's why I thought you said he didn't mean it that way.
No, I think maybe he misspoke. Maybe he wasn't, or maybe he really did think that. Maybe he was thinking, I'm just going to be honest with him.
I think he was just being honest with him.
Wow.
That's a tough
I wonder,
call.
anybody in the chat room, I didn't listen to any of his interviews. Did he explain why in the world he said that? I mean, of course, it's, 9 months later, so I'm sure he's got some great reason.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen any exit interviews. I started to watch his day after, and then I just didn't.
Yeah, I think you're going to agree with what Bruce is saying in the chat room. Am I right?
Well, not just for that reason, but yeah.
Well, tell them what the reason is, because not everybody knows what the chat room says.
Oh, the chat room says, I think at this stage, from Bruce, I think at this stage of the game, it's more important to win challenges. Paul is more used than Cece at this time.
Yeah, maybe so.
But Miriam thinks Paul was just as terrible as Cece, and Paul said he didn't mean that. She misunderstood.
She did not misunderstand you. She understood exactly what you said, Paul. You may have misspoke, but you said what you said.
Yeah, he didn't mean to say that. Not that he didn't mean it. He just didn't mean to say that.
Because there's no other meaning for that. And if there is, then you have you're very poor at getting what you once said into words, as I just demonstrated. So I don't want to talk about that.
I don't think she misunderstood it.
No. Gen X camp. Oh, I already said that. So
then we get some great editing we already had Ken talk to Jessica earlier at the well. We've already had, they talked to Cece and Ken and Dave and Lucy. So we know Lucy's heard the option that they would love to vote out Paul. They just don't know how. Mm-hmm. And then Jessica and Sunday move on to Lucy. And basically Jessica reinterprets Paul's comment to say, he told us good luck. If they do a men's alliance, he said, good luck, girls. I mean, that's not exactly what he said.
Well, maybe he did say that. We just didn't hear that part.
You're right. But it made it look like she was paraphrasing what he said to even make it even worse than it was. Yeah. And it's like, I wonder if they'll vote with us to vote out Paul. And Lucy's like, yeah, they've been talking about it for like 2 days.
Yeah.
That's all they're talking about is voting out Paul.
Yeah. And then we get some more of Paul's confidence because Brett and Chris are like, look, those girls are over there talking. It's all right. It's okay.
And it's funny because at first I thought it was Chris. And I thought it was Brett, and I thought it was Jessica. But David has been saying for 2 weeks that if Paul goes, things will change. People's attitudes will change. Connections will change. David keeps saying if Paul goes, and that just tells me that Paul's more of the corraller. He's more of the vocal leader. He might not be the leader, but he's more of the figurehead, so to speak. And if we can knock off the head of the snake, then parts of the snake might start scattering. Yeah. Especially if we can get them to split up. So, I mean, Paul apparently was more of a central figure in that final six than we may have thought. I just assumed it was going to be one of the other people. I thought Paul was a hanger-on, but apparently he was the talker, the motivator, the insulter.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I'm really enjoying about this season, 3 episodes in, is we don't have alliances on each tribe that are running everything. Things are moving around. Even last week's Blindside and everything, that group is not all together anymore. There's Michaela's certainly liable to switch and things are happening. I love it. Yeah. It's not just to railroad people out of here.
We do have a group of 4, but within that 4, Michelle, I think, is really smart and looking at her options of playing the game. I don't think she sees them as the tight final 4. I think she sees them as flexible. I think she's probably tightest with Jay and maybe Hannah, but I don't think she sees them as the final 4. So I agree with you that there's not one solid core necessarily running the whole game.
Well, yeah, 4 couldn't run the game anyway. So,
right.
All right, Tribal Council. How was the summit? Again, I'm tiring of hearing David.
Really?
Yes, I really am.
I'm telling you, don't get tired because I think you're going to hear it for quite a while.
Unfortunately.
He's not going to be a target.
And Probst is like, so David, you are like the poster child for nervous. Why are you all of a sudden so calm? You got something hidden in your pants. You got an idol in there somewhere.
I like what he said. He said this experience has helped him cope with his anxiety. He doesn't necessarily feel safer in the game, but he's been tearing down the walls of his anxiety. This is quite a reveal. By the end of this game, he's going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh. He's going to be Ken by the end of this game. He's going to all of a sudden bulk up and become all the man that Ken is.
David Dahl.
And Miriam White is going to fall in love with David and throw Ken to the side and say, bye-bye, Ken.
There you go.
So
I don't like it, but Probst pretty much tells Chris what's about to happen. Chris, if someone feels like they're 5 or 6, they can approach this bottom 3 because Cece calls out the bottom 3. She says it's me, David, and Ken. And Probst looked at Chris and said, hey, if somebody that feels like they're in the bottom of your 6, they can just go to this 3 and change the numbers. Because that's what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. So what do you got to say about that?
No, it's way too early to be thinking about where you are in the alliance of 6. Way too early. Did I say way too early? Because it's way too early.
So you think it's too early to be thinking about the rest of the game?
Yes, it's way too early to be playing this game. You should just stay with the 6.
Okay.
It's way too early.
Okay. I think I get your point now. You don't think it's time to worry about insulting other people or making people. So you're not worried about making people at the bottom of your alliance feel like they're at the top. I got you. Okay.
They shouldn't think of themselves as being at the bottom. Of course, I don't know what Paul might have said stupidly in the jungle, but
our final 6 should all feel like we're all number 1.
Yeah, we're all number 1.
We're a team.
Belly up to the ball. We're all number 1.
We're a team because when I played football, we won as a team. And then Probst comes back. This isn't football.
That's right.
Only one of you gets to carry the ball at the end of the game.
All right. Yeah, I wrote, you should have told Paul that.
Exactly.
And by the way, Probst, I don't know any kids, or any students, any millennials that use you instead of YOU. I think that wasn't because it was more efficient. That was because texting used to be on those, 9-digit phones, and you used it because you couldn't spell out words. Now that kids have smartphones, they write out everything.
And I didn't like him saying that it was more efficient to talk that way.
Yeah.
You know what? A microwave is more efficient, but it don't make it taste better. That's why we still have ovens. We don't live in microwaves.
Well, but see, if you get Doritos and you put cheddar cheese on them and you stick them in the microwave,
then you are defeating the purpose of working out the days that you've worked out.
I know.
But I just didn't like that. I mean, and I don't know. I don't really either. I don't talk to too many people that write just to you.
Yeah. Okay, J to the K in the chat room. J to the K. He wrote, or she, yes, Paul said it badly, but Jessica misinterpreted it.
Is that
J
according to Paul?
K, Jessica took it the way he said it. I don't understand how she misinterpreted it. She heard what she heard because he said it the way he said it. She heard what he said. I don't see how that's taken any other way. If you say to me, I would say, Dwaine, you're on your own. How else am I going to take that?
Yeah, especially if Dwaine and I were playing together and I said, hey, if this group wants me to go with them,
yeah,
I'll let you know that I'm going with them.
Right, and you'll be on your own.
Right.
Now, again,
find your own alliance.
He may not have meant that, but that's what he said. So she didn't misinterpret anything.
I think he just spoke before thinking.
Yeah. We spoke.
He's used to giving boat orders. He is the captain of the boat. He's used to telling people what to do.
Yeah. J to the K and I probably agree. We're just not saying it the same way.
I'm with Chris made a good point. We had a character limit back then. How many characters you could text? Oh, I hated texting the number keys. I hated having to do that. You got to press 9 3 times and 4 3 times and 5 3 times. And
yeah,
it took forever. So no, I wasn't using every letter back then.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody texted me the other day, HRUD. And I wrote back, did you mean to write crud? And they went, no, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
And
yeah.
I was like, well, just write out, how are you doing then? Stop making me having to interpret stuff.
You know what's even more efficient? Use the voice thing.
Yeah.
Speak it.
Speaking of efficient.
Yeah, really.
All right.
And now they've got on the iPhone where you can write with your finger.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. Ken talks and we get a little insight to how the guys see him because they're laughing at him while he's talking. Mm-hmm. Typical. The 3 guys at the bar making fun of the guy over by himself who's not like them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Paul gets one more chance to hear it. What's the paranoia like with the 6? Oh, we're fine. It's low.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Paul? It's low. There's no reason to worry about anything.
Yeah. And to further flush my idea down the toilet, Miriam White writes BRB for be right back. So I guess I'm wrong. People do still do that. I don't do that.
No, I don't either.
Time to vote.
Actually, we do. In our private message thing, You do use BRB.
Do? Oh, okay.
When you walk into a meeting or something and you got to tell me to stop messaging you so your phone stops buzzing while you're in a
it's
meeting.
more efficient, David. It takes me less time to put BRB. But see, like LOL doesn't mean laugh out loud. It means LOL, which I know means laugh out loud, but I don't think laugh out loud when I see LOL. I think LOL.
But you have a good point when you talk about sharp cheddar cheese on Doritos.
I know, and it makes me want some. By the way,
I know. I
saw this text. You know how sometimes they'll show these text things on online that people mistake things, and this is horrible. This is mother typing to her son, and she wrote, "So and so has passed away. LOL." And the son goes, "What the heck, Mom? That is so insensitive." And she goes, "What? I thought it meant lots of love. I hope it does. I've texted that to hundreds of people." He's like, "No, it means laugh out loud." Oh, no. Isn't that horrible?
That's bad.
Oh, man. Wow. Oh, anything else about the show, David? Before we get to our wonderful listener feedback.
Here's why I think it was a bad move.
Okay.
I think it was too early. And the reason I think it was too early was because you only get one chance to make a first alliance. And the three women were in a tight alliance with three men. They had not disagreed yet. They'd gone together. They'd worked together. They voted together. Now, Jessica, Sunday, and Lucy find themselves between two men that will never trust them again, and three people who are on the bottom and were fortunate that they got their votes. If there is a swap or a mix-up, which we think is coming at some point before the merge, if Jessica gets stuck with Brett and or Chris and Millennials, she could be in trouble unless she flips. You know, she's not going to have their trust. She's going to be her on her own. She'll have to work her way into the Millennials. But I just think going forward, it would have been stronger to stay as a 6. Challenge-wise, you could take one or the other. There might not be another balance challenge if that's all they're worried about. Cece, she hadn't seemed to be too bad too far, but I just think it was too soon. I think it's going to come back. And what I talked was Jessica now saw who Paul was. Paul is not trustworthy. He's going to pick them over us. We know where he is. We can vote out CC. If we lose again, we can go to Ken and David. So you know what? We don't trust him anymore. We want to go with you guys, and we want to vote out Paul. Then you have numbers. Right now, they're 3 in the middle of 3 and 2, so they could be on the outs next time. 5 against 3. David, Ken, and Cece are tied to David, Ken, and Cece.
Right.
They could flip back to the guys next time and start knocking off those women. Yeah. I just think it was too soon. I hope it doesn't come back to bottom because I really like Jessica. I like Sunday, and I think Lucy's still there. But I'm pulling for Jessica and Sunday. I hope we hear more from them. But I just think they've been playing well. They've been playing smart, keeping their heads down, and they just stuck their heads up.
All right. You heard it from David first. Well, maybe not first, but you heard it from David. They might have stuck their heads up.
Was it a good move? Was it a good move?
Was it a good move?
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think it could go either way. I mean,
it could. I'd have been tempted to stick with the alliance, though. I would have been.
I mean, okay, seriously, Cece would have been a better vote off for if they're going to win anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're right. They still had enough time that they could still work with Ken and David. Of course, you know, David's going to turn on them all anyway. So
yeah, but that leaves, if they get rid of CC, it's 6 against 2. At that point, they could actually go to Chris and Brett and say, look, Paul's been talking and he's just telling us that we're at the bottom and we don't like that.
Yeah.
And we want to work with you two guys. Can we get rid of Paul now? And you know,
that works. Then they go to Paul and go, guess what?
That's right.
Did you hear what the chick said over there?
So
she said she want to get rid of you.
So then Ken and David are sitting back saying, who wants our votes?
Gonna throw it to the Sharks.
So I don't know. I just think it was I think it was too soon.
All right. We're about to go to listener feedback. Hey, listen, everybody, if you want to shop for stuff, shop at Amazon and use our link, stwdd.com/Amazon. I am an Amazon associate, so shop there, buy stuff. We also have links on our website. Listener feedback. tonight we are giving away another buff, and it doesn't even have to be a Survivor buff. Any buff on their website, buffusa.com/Survivor Talk 33. And they are giving away a buff tonight to one of our feedback people who lives in the United States, who actually left feedback about the show, and who left it on time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we will let you know who wins the free buff from Buff USA as soon as this is over. All right. Also, you can get 10% off your buff if you go to buffusa.com, Survivor Talk 33. Use the promo code Survivor Talk 33. You get 10% off your buff order. All right. All right, David, let's do feedback. Am I first or what?
I'm first.
All right.
First, we have Chris Nacho Cheese Diorio. And he says, hey, guys.
Get your hands off my cheese. That's not your cheese.
So I only have a few points of feedback for this episode. I like his feedback already. Number one, the episode was pretty meh all the way around. Nothing too interesting.
That's meh. It's not it's meh. It's a millennial term.
Well, I'm not millennial and I read it like, meh.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Nothing too interesting besides Dwaine trying to pronounce meh.
Oh, that's not in there.
Nothing too interesting besides watching Hannah not understand the meaning of personal space.
Oh, that's the truth.
Number two, that game-changing twist was a huge letdown.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of agree. Even that tease of a possible Taylor/David thing down the road, that conversation felt way too light to actually have any effect. I think David even said it was only 30 seconds. Number three, did they tease the possibility of Adam getting the idol with that shot of their coconut with Adam walking back? Maybe I'm reading into the edit too much. I think they teased Adam not finding the idol, but I hope he does. Number four, loved the idea of the challenge. Break the puzzle, then build it back again.
Yep.
Number five, and David fails at the puzzle again.
Kind of like at Durham Warriors.
I didn't fail. I just came in second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be too obvious as a puzzle threat. So, number six, I'm curious if you guys heard my head slam the table as soon as Paul said to the ladies that if there was a guy saying he's not with the girls. Wow, that was dumb. Number seven, to Jeff Probst. As a millennial myself, I will say very few of us use you, the letter U. I think I rolled hard enough to rival Michaela at that comment.
That's an eye roll right there then.
Yep. And number eight, and Lucy goes a third episode without a confessional. But number nine, Lucy dictator hype. I know this is a next time on Survivor thing, but that segment was more of a blindside than that vote was. Good point.
Yeah. Chris Diorio. All right, I've got Connor from Washington. I'm quoting Shakespeare here. Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world, like a colossus, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. It is the most well-known stanza from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, and I couldn't help but think of it throughout the final part of this episode. It was Paul's arrogance that brought about his downfall, and in the end, both Paul and Caesar got backstabbed. It'll be interesting to watch the power vacuum in the coming episodes. That's true, because Paul not being there, that's going to leave a huge hole for them to be filling.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Then there's Figgy and Taylor. The more I see them, the more I want to throw up in my mouth. They are playing a short-sighted and overconfident game. The comment Figgy made about not even caring what the others were saying when she was with their posse on the beach made it clear to me that she hasn't thought about just how quickly things can go wrong for her. I have nothing against them personally, but the way that whole alliance is so cavalier about their power makes me hope for their rapid demise. Thank you. That was Connor, right? Was that Connor?
Yeah.
Thank you, Connor. All right, it is now time. Oh, go ahead, David.
Well, I was just going to say that I don't think Michelle minds them being that cavalier because she doesn't seem that cavalier. She just kind of sits back, and I have a feeling she's more sociable than we think. In fact, Zeke called Jay very sociable. He's sociable with everybody. And in the chat room, it was mentioned that both Brett and Michelle kind of disappeared this week. I think Brett was there a few times. Michelle definitely disappeared. We didn't get much of anything.
Right. It's really more Taylor and Figgy that are being cavalier.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay's even a little less. He's like, oh, as long as they don't start making out in front of the Gen Xers, So, Will the Giant Ninja.
What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. Well, it is officially October. It is time for the first time in my entire life for the Cubs to dominate the playoffs, and I genuinely believe it might happen this year. The last time I was this excited about a Cubs team was in 2004. I was sure that October of 2004 was going to be the greatest month of my life. My first son was going to be born, and the Cubs were finally going to win the World Series. Our first child, son Jack, was born, and the Cubs had a horrible end of the season and missed the playoffs. So hopefully this time goes a little bit better than last time. And if not, I will be a sad, sad ninja. But not because of Survivor. I'm actually pretty happy about the way the first 3 episodes of this season have gone. And I did want to give you a few thoughts I have about episode 3. Number 1, I wanted to talk about Zeke and Hannah. That little scene at the beginning of the episode where Hannah had to explain herself to Zeke, and Zeke could not listen to anything Hannah had to say was instructive for not just Survivor, but for life. In that situation, both Hannah and Zeke were trying to fulfill their own emotional needs. Neither one of them was thinking about the other person, and frankly, they weren't even thinking enough about themselves because they ignored their own game needs in service of their emotional needs. Hannah just had to talk, and Zeke just had to be alone when it would have been in their own best interests in the game, each of them, to let the other one have what they need. And neither one of them was able to do it. They were both so emotionally immature that they had to service their own needs, their own emotional needs, at the expense of potentially $1 million. I thought it was interesting, and I thought everybody watching needed to pay attention to that. Don't make that mistake. You have to think about other people and their needs, and frankly, their wants. Number 2, I wanted to talk about Adam and Ken. Now, Adam and Ken are on different tribes, obviously. Adam is a millennial and Ken is a Gen Xer, but they both found themselves on the outside looking in. So what I wanted to talk about was the way they each dealt with trying to get up off the bottom. Adam was making a logical appeal to Michaela. He said, look at those 4. They're tight and you can't get into their 4. And so Michaela would be better off working with me because I will be loyal to you, whereas they're only going to be loyal to themselves. It was a logical argument about Michaela's needs. Ken, on the other hand, decided to lead by example. First, he went out and fished. He went out and caught fish. He built things. He worked his butt off at the camp. And then in a conversation with, I can't remember whether it was Sunday or it was Jessica. I know it wasn't Lucy because she isn't on this season, but it was with somebody. He decided to make the point that he does more for the tribe than Paul does, that Paul talks about getting fish. He actually gets them. So Ken was making an appeal on emotion and based on fairness. And I don't think one appeal is worse or better than the other because both of them dealt not necessarily with their own strengths, but with what the other person they were dealing with wanted to hear. Adam knew Michaela wanted to hear the reason, wanted to hear the logic, because last week she kept Figgy. She voted to keep the person she hated because it was best for her game. So he knew she wanted to hear what was best for Michaela. And Ken properly read the situation that the person that he was dealing with wanted to hear about fairness. And finally, very quickly, I want to talk about David and Jessica getting rid of Paul. And the reason is that it was the best possible move for David. Great job getting rid of Paul. Jessica, that was a huge mistake. You sacrificed someone who was loyal to you for someone who is not loyal to you because you're worried that in the future he might be less loyal to you than he is to two other people. Bad, 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 bad move, Jessica. But I'm glad you did it because I love David. Well, that's all I got. Later, peeps. Will at the Giant Ninja.
I don't mind. Well, they really liked it. I don't mind reading people's feedback, but I love it when people call in and give a passionate read because it gets their points across even better.
Yeah,
and that was really good. A lot of great points all the way to the end. I totally agree with the end.
Yeah. All right, that was Will, the Giant Ninja. Next, we have David from New Jersey. New Jersey.
Is that me? That is me.
You're reading this.
Howdy from the Garden State of New Jersey. A few observations from this week's episode. I think Survivor should have a spinoff. Hear me out on this. 60 minutes each week of just Hannah trying to talk to Zeke and Adam about a topic. And them responding over and over, we just don't want to talk now. Let's talk later. That sounds awesome, and it might actually be better than half the shows currently on air. In case you missed the beginning of this podcast, Dwaine and I auditioned for that show and did it well. So let's see. It's just not fair that the producers allowed the Gen X tribe to add a new player this late in the game. I saw someone this week that obviously had just been inserted into their tribe. This new player, this Lucy, I think her name was, is taking valuable time away from other contestants who are on the island since day one with all of her shushings. Shame on you, CBS. I had to check to see if one of my kids had sat on the remote during the balance beam portion of the challenge because I thought the playback was in slow-mo when Cece was trying to cross.
Oh, bravo.
I have to admit that Will, who lives one town over, is growing on me. His excitement at being part of the summit was palpable, and I can imagine most super fans would have the same response if in the same position. But it was funny watching Will stagger and wobble trying to cross the beam. Did someone slip the 18-year-old his first beer just before the challenge? Just to comment on that real quick, because I saw a Will extended scene on YouTube, and he talks about how excited he is to go to this summit. He's going to get so much information from it. It's going to be so great. It's going to be a great moment for him, but just a great moment in the game. And then he comes back and says when he saw the PB&J, he just stuffed his face and didn't hear anything anybody was talking about for the first few minutes.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. He said, I was so hungry. I just kept stuffing the food in my mouth. I didn't even hear what they were talking about for the first few minutes. I'm like, dude, you just kind of counteracted what you said.
Yeah.
But I do love his excitement. He is definitely a fan playing the game. Thanks for the great shows this year, D&D. I'm glad I found your podcast and have a community of like-minded super fans to be part of.
It's Dave, fun, isn't it?
It is.
Thank you, Dave. It's fun.
That's why we keep doing it.
That's right. We probably wouldn't still be doing it if we didn't have such a great group of fans like y'all. So thank you, David, for a great feedback and for being part and for finding us. All right, shush it, crowd. Shush it. Okay. All right, Steve, the New York graphic artist. If you're in our Facebook group, he's the one that does the funny. Well, I don't know if they're funny, but I kind of think they're funny looking in a good way.
Yeah,
I get my foot out of my mouth quick, but it's all the graphics. Like it's Wednesday, it's Hump Day, and who's been voted off, and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, hey D&D, thanks again for the sweet buff from you and Buff USA, and of course Siri, who called his number. Okay. Myself, I have 4 buffs, nothing like you guys. One from Jeff Probst from Twitter. Well, that's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And one from All Stars 2 in New York City. My company did the small catering for 95.5 radio, and they were doing Survivor that season, and they knew I liked Survivor. Steve, like to help out? I said H to the yes. So he said, heck yes.
Yes.
The survivors look so different in person. I took a lot of pics. Boston Rob. I like Boston Rob. Rupert, much smaller in person. Cool to see everyone in person. David, stop moving the cursor.
Sorry, I forget that we're sharing a document.
Okay, back to Survivor. I see Hannah trying to talk to Zeke, and Zeke didn't want any part of it. Give me some space, please. LOL. The summit. I didn't think it was too exciting. PB&J nice, but I was thinking pizza? They always have pizza. Every Survivor. LOL.
Yes.
The camp. Taylor and Figgy and crew on the beach planning the next person being voted out. Myself, I'd love to see a blindside with this crew. That would add spice to the season. The challenge. I love how Jeff calls people out who are holding the tribe back. I guess that is his job. The Millennials take it down. The Gen X tribe was talking about how Cece lost the challenge, but if you see the tape, when they both started putting the puzzle back together, they were pretty close. Millennials had a lead, yes, but it wasn't that big. So I feel it being all on Cece losing it is not right. I'm sure she was trying, so it was not right for her tribe to call her out. Well, whether you're right or wrong about if it was her fault, it would have nothing to do with whether or not she was trying or not.
Yeah.
Just because you're trying doesn't mean, this isn't the Millennials where you get an award for trying.
Right.
LOL. At camp. This is the reason why I feel Paul was voted out. If you remember that Paul was talking to the ladies and he said, if the boys were doing something else, I would let you know that, ladies. You are now on your own. Wow, bad move to say this, Paul. I mean, you can think it, but say it. No way. At Tribal Council, love Jeff's question about how do you write you? You or you? You as in capital U or Y-O-U. When you text. It was close, but Paul is out. If you like to keep the tribe strong, bad play. I guess we see how it plays out. Okay, D&D, catch you next week. Steve, New York graphic artist. Thank you. You got anything with David?
No.
All right. Next we have Bart.
First, I wanted to show you how to bring the kids up in the ways of the propes. And he includes some pictures in his feedback. And I'm not going to post them, Bart, but I think you should post them in our Facebook group. They're pretty
post
cool
them in the Facebook group.
with the buffs. Yes. Now on to the episode. Hannah is obviously young and not very socially adept. She has zero chance of winning this game. It is not going to happen. If she does not have the wherewithal to listen to her tribate and give him a chance to cool his jets, then she will not see her ousting coming soon down the road. She may make it to the merge, but only if she is a pawn for Zeke and Adam. It has always been funny to me to watch one alpha male beat and thump his chest like he is Kong and then go out in the water and utterly fail at catching fish or bringing back even a crab.
Yes, I agree.
When Paul stumbled in the water, I honestly thought something stung him and he was going to come back to camp asking someone to pee on his leg. If I were to go looking for another job, then tell my bosses that I am looking for something better, what do you think would happen? They would can me. So why does Paul tell the ladies that if the guys wanted to do an all guy thing, that he was all for it? What? How dumb can you be and still draw breath? I mean, really, does this guy want to buy my oceanfront property in Arizona? I mean, really.
I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's George Strait. There you go.
George Strait.
And then Ken comes strolling back in with fish for everyone, muttering something about Barbie dolls and genitalia. But he did bring back fish. Seems like a nice enough guy. He is a threat to win if things fall his way. Okay, now to the pizza lady, Cece. LOL. Yes, she was slow, painfully slow. I think she just finished just now as I typed this. But is it really all her fault? Where was the coach of the group to say to her to drop it and let them help? I put that loss on the group as a whole and not her. Tribal Council was fun as usual with the give and takes and Jeff digging for dirt, but Paul's blindside was really not surprising. But Chris's face when the vote was read was funny. He just looked like, grrr. Come on, David. I know you can do the Chris Gurr face for everyone watching. I did. Dwayne wasn't watching, but I did.
Sorry. Do it again.
Here's to hoping that you draw my number this week. Catch you later, Bill and Ted. Bart. Okay.
Let me see the gur.
I didn't really catch his face, so it's kind of like.
Oh, okay. Bart. All right. This is from Laz. Hey, guys. Laz again. Episode 3 was fairly ho-hum. I was not a fan of Hannah being asked to leave it be. Then she kept trying to push the conversation with Zeke. I think the millennial top spot is not set in stone. The Triforce plus Michelle are strong, but I could see Michaela swinging back, which puts Will as the deciding vote next Tribal. But I don't think the millennials will go to Tribal unless we swap. They work together. Gen X does not. The Gen X cast also has more conflicting personalities. The only thing that will help the Gen Xers as a whole is a twist/swap, or we'll be seeing them at Tribal more often than not. I do not think voting Paul was too early. Cece was selfish in holding the challenge up, but Paul fell too. Paul has proven to be a physical liability. Either one was the right vote. Later, Laz. So it's interesting. We get different opinions about the Paul vote. It's the full spectrum there. Thank you, Laz.
But what I come back to is challenges or not, they broke an alliance with Chris and Bart, and they're still in the game. So that's what worries me for Jessica and Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Mere I Am.
Hi, Dave and Dwayne. This is Mir I Am, aka Vader Girl. Very worked up, very overstimulated. I am very excited. I am totally in love with Ken McNichol. Oh my God, I found his music on YouTube. He is like John Mayer, and I want to keep it family friendly. All I can say is, oh my God, I'm in love with him. I also want to say I am convinced he's winning or getting the winners at it. Many reasons for this. He was shown fishing and catching fish, which they only show and include in the edit if somebody is winning or going to the end and it's part of the story. AKA Neil last year, not AKA, EG example. Neil was, his secret scenes, every time he was providing, it was in a secret scene on YouTube and never included in the episode. So I'm positive Ken's getting the winners at it. Jeff Probst never ever yells at him during the competitions. He's always, Ken is great, Ken is great. So I also think that's JP's man crush. I also want to say something a little bit about Paul here. Like I said, I don't ever think he was a Gen Xer. I think he's more of a baby boomer. I really do think Jeff just cast him so that Jeff could be conclusively considered a Gen Xer, which Jeff is probably borderline, though. Love you, JP. And I'm so impressed with my David Wright, and I think he's going to be final two. Hey, Dave and Dwayne, this is Miriam again. My iPhone updated yesterday, and I can't figure it out, so it just kind of cut me off. You know me, I'll blame Ken for this. I'm distracted, but I wanted to say go David Wright. I think he's going to be in the final two. I think it's going to be a final two with David and Ken and probably Cassandra. Cece. And yeah, I'm excited. I think it's great. Love your show. And I've just got to thank the people that have worked hard for the fantasy team, like Andy Westover and everybody that's doing all the hard work. It's so fun. So thank you guys so much. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Adam and Will and even Taylor and of course, Gen X Jessica. Hey, I love everybody, but it's Ken. I'm really into him. Oh my God. Woo. So go Ken. May the force be with you. Bye, guys.
Don't hold back at all, Miriam. Don't hold back. Let us know. Now.
Oh, wow.
Again, this is the good part about calling in and telling us what you really think, because her picking Ken for getting the winner's pick because he's gorgeous doesn't sell me on him getting the winners of it. However, the points she made were valid points about him finding fish,
right?
About him being pointed out in challenges, and him being even mentioned by the other tribe, him being mentioned at all and making his way through the game does point at a good edit. But saying that you're in love with him doesn't make him have a winner's edit. However, you brought some really good points about why he might have a winner's edit.
You know what I noticed, besides your camera being off, is that Vader Girl, who is also Mir I Am, she sounded different this week. Like, she sounded more alive, there in the moment, excited.
I've got no comment.
I'm just saying. She did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to give away a buff. Why? Because we have partnered with Buff USA, and they are awesome. BuffUSA.com/SurvivorTalk33. David has randomly assigned numbers to all of our Facebook feedback submitters who met the following requirements as posted on Facebook and Twitter. They must live in the United States, continental United States, must have submitted a feedback about the episode, and left a feedback by our deadline, which this little competition, this little drawing has really helped people get their feedback in time. Mm-hmm. What happened to your camera? You're not there anymore.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry.
Hello. All the people listening right now are like, thank you, David. Now we can see you. All right, David.
Like, why is he talking about physical things? It's just an audio podcast.
Yeah. So what are the numbers between 1 and what?
8.
And just to clarify, if I say between 1 and 8, 1 and 8 are an option. I have tested this with Siri. Here we go. Hey, Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 8.
Random number between 1 and 8 is 5.
You heard it from Siri's voice, 5. And the winner is...
from the Garden State of New Jersey, David Holdsworth.
David Holdsworth. Well, he was in the chat room just a little while ago and he left.
Oh, well, you got to be present to win. So let's go ahead to the next one.
No, you don't. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for...
You write them. We read them. iTunes Reviews.
We have possibly... granted, I like all the positive reviews. In fact, a couple of the negative ones are quite humorous, but this one is right as of right now. This is the award-winning iTunes review of all time, and partially because of the last part is so right on, is so perfect. Mm-hmm. So here it is. It's from Tushball 101. People have some interesting iTunes names.
I forgot I didn't read that name.
Tushball 101. Rating 5 stars, best podcast there is. Now, that's good already, but listen to this. From their 2 to 3 hour interviews to their weekly recap shows to being 2 really funny guys, D&D is my favorite podcast. I've been listening for 2 seasons. In my most hardest times while doing work, I always know that I can just get through it by listening to some great D&D. Doesn't that just make you feel wonderful that we help people through hard times?
It does.
Another thing is I've never seen podcasters so devoted to their fan base. Wow. Thank you. Always listening and reading all their feedback. It is really an absolutely amazing podcast, and I 100% assure you that you won't regret listening. Awesome. Because we really do love our fans, and it's cool that people recognize that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, and we'll read it. And if it's as good as that one, I'll tell you how awesome it is. We like them all, but that one's really good. We appreciate them, and you let iTunes know that we're being listened to. So thank you very much. David, what a great episode for us to talk about. Mainly because it was an episode. It wasn't, it's not going to be the top 5 episodes of the season.
No, I started ho-hum at the beginning, but there were still some points in it that were really good. I'm really interested to see how the Gen X camp comes out from this.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to be mad, how people are going to react. I would like to find out if Chris and Brett how they react if they ever found out what Paul said. Because they're going to ask, and they're going to tell him.
Yeah. They probably watched tonight with, "You idiot!"
Paul's phone blew up when that part came.
No, they were all at the same bar together. They threw beer bottles at him or something. Man.
It's always good. It's always good Survivor. I didn't dislike the episode. It was just kind of predictable at the end.
Yeah. Well, any Survivor is good Survivor, man.
There you go.
If you want to get a little taste of what we think is going to happen next week, all of our $2 and up patrons get a free, well, I don't know, I guess it's free. It has nothing to do with it. You get a D&D extra video. We do an extra video during the week, usually on Monday night, sometimes on Tuesday night, where we talk about the upcoming video, the upcoming episode, and we make a video of it. It's called the D&D Extra. It's for our $2 and above patrons. So we now have an always open D&D store, which I'm really glad about, because every once in a while someone will get a shirt and they don't have to wait for us to, okay, shirts are available for 3 weeks. They're always available. So stwdd.com/store. We have mugs and shirts and V-necks and hoodies. It's starting to get cold. So thank you for shopping Amazon using the links on our website. Already mentioned that. Join the fun by being part of our always family-friendly Facebook group. That's easy for you to say.
Mm-hmm.
stwdd.com/Facebook. And follow me on Twitter at @Survivor_talk. I already talked about becoming a patron. There are 2 more spots for a free signed shirt or mug drawing during our first show in November, or once those 2 spots are taken, we will go ahead and make the drawing. And that is, if you become or raise your pledge to $6 a month, then you will be entered into that drawing, the next 2 people, because we're doing 5 people. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. The big winner in our Survivor Talk with D&D Survivor Challenge, second week in a row, David. Second week in a row is David Wright with 18 points.
Oh, yes.
Second week in a row.
You don't have him, do you?
No, I don't remember now.
I don't think you do.
Wait, just a second. I'll tell you. David Wright is not on my team. But he's on your team.
Our only differences are I have David and Ken. I don't think you have either one of those.
Yeah, you and I talked about it. There's only like 2 people that are different now.
Yeah, you've got Michelle and somebody else, I think. I don't remember now.
Yeah. So the lowest scoring this week was a tie, Brett and Lucy, but Lucy had a huge jump. No, just kidding.
From 3 to 5.
So she had 3. I don't know what she had last week, but she had 3 this week. So enjoy your week, everybody. See ya.
See ya.
I'm a survivor. Devil's a liar. I'm living for the king and my soul is on fire. So if you feel me, put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands up.
Well, hello to all you wonderful people still watching the video. You get to see our nice end card designed by Mark Percy, who does all of our artwork. And here are 2 of our latest videos. The top one is our episode 2 recap and feedback show. And the bottom one is our latest Stranger Things with D&D episode with guest Chaos Cass. It's a very fun episode. So also some buttons here to subscribe, become a D&D patron, go to our website. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, and God bless.